Fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you. Glad you came too. Like you said, when you know you got moves. You spit game and you know you spit.
Hello, and welcome back to the Fast Lane Collective F1 Academy edition. I'm your host, Daniela, and today I'm joined by Yasmin. She is back, and I'm so excited to have Yas back. She's been gone for a couple of weeks, and I have missed her so much. So, Yas, how are you?
I am great. I have been thinking about coming back to recording basically the entire time I was away. I felt so guilty leaving you guys to run the podcast, so I'm happy to be back. Yeah, I love recording with you, and I miss you so much. I miss Daniela. I miss Brianna. I always miss them when I don't record. So I'm good. I'm energized. I was at Elms in Barcelona, so met Jamie Chadwick. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. We're talking about F1 Academy and woman in the motorsport. I met her. So I'm hyped. I'm ready to talk about females in the motorsport world, and just so happy to be back. How have you been, Daniela? Because I feel like I haven't seen you in months, even though it's been only a couple of weeks, and we text pretty much every day.
I have been good. I have been quite busy with work. The Formula E season is full steam ahead. We've got 3 races in May, so things are looking a little bit hectic. But aside from that, I've been good. It has felt weird not recording with both you and Brianna, so I'm glad that you're both back. But yeah, it's been good. Before we jump into the most recent F1 Academy weekend in Saudi Arabia, I do just have to ask, what was it like to meet Jamie Chadwick?
Oh my gosh. She was a sweetheart. She was just like, again, I met her in the paddock, so it was quite like a busy atmosphere. Everyone's running about, and she seemed like she had to get somewhere in time. And I just caught her in the side of my eye, in the corner of my eye, and I was like, "Don't say it." And then I could already feel my body turning around, being like, "Jamie, hi, can I get a photo?" And she was so sweet. She stopped and she just asked how I was, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. How are you?" And nice formalities. Yeah, so I didn't get to speak to her a huge amount because again, I think she was like in the middle of getting somewhere, and I rudely interrupted. But she seemed lovely, and yeah, it was just an incredible experience, and she's so sweet. So I honestly have nothing bad to say about Jamie Chadwick. I mean, I don't know how anyone can, because she's just such a lovely human being.
I completely agree. I was very fortunate enough to meet Jamie back in November of 2024. And I feel like we had kind of similar experiences where Jamie was like in a rush to get somewhere, but still took the time to like have a quick chat. She's so lovely. I've got to kind of work with her a bit through work. I don't like work directly with her in person, but I do some stuff over Zoom and stuff like that. And it's just in like she's just so lovely and up for anything, which you don't always get with drivers nowadays. But yeah, she's just such a lovely human being, and I'm so glad that you had a really great experience with her. But moving on to F1 Academy, it was the second F1 Academy weekend of the season, and I feel like it delivered. I'm not really a big Jeddah fan. I don't know about you, Yas. Do you like Jeddah?
I like the track itself, because I like how tight. Oh, just hit my mic. Sorry, everyone. I like how tight the corners are. But I always do think it's a strange choice of country to race in, especially when you think about like F1 Academy and women's rights, human rights in general, in Saudi Arabia. Um, so yeah, the track itself, actually, I don't mind at all. As we saw within this race and in Formula One, that safety cars can come out and it can be quite a tricky track to navigate. But yeah, it's always mixed feelings when we come to Jeddah, I think, and I think for a lot of fans as well. Daniela, kind of where I know you said that you didn't like the track, but is it more kind of the country itself that we're kind of placing the drivers in, or what about it do you not like?
A bit of both, but it's mostly for me, like, I really don't like the track itself. It's one of my least favorite tracks on the calendar, if not my least favorite. It has been since it made it onto the calendar. I don't really know why I don't particularly like it. I just think it's just not that many rooms for overtaking. I'm not a massive like street circuit fan. I think specifically when you look at F1, the cars are too big for it now. So I feel like that overall has kind of made my judgment on Jeddah not great. Like, it works quite well in terms of Formula E. Formula E was there in February, and that really delivered. But that's because the cars are smaller and it fits. And the cars in F1 Academy are smaller. So we did get like a few battles and things, but I just overall it's just not my favorite track. This weekend though it has kind of changed that a little bit because we've had some good battles in all the different categories. But yeah, I'm just not really a big fan of it. And then yeah, the whole Saudi Arabia women's rights, it's a hard topic to speak about, but I don't necessarily agree with like racing in Saudi Arabia. And I try and put a focus on women when we're racing out there. And I think that's the best thing that I can do is, you know, think about like how far we've come. We've had like Sebastian Vettel, he ran a session with female drivers. And I think that when we have initiatives like that at the forefront, that's really changing my perspective on it and making me feel a lot more positive going into the weekend, because I think it's hard one to kind of talk about, but you know, the rights aren't the same there as they are here. I have mixed opinions about F1 Academy racing there, because part of me is like, well, look at how far they've come to be able to race there, and like it wasn't even that long ago that women in Saudi Arabia couldn't even have a driver's license, and now here are a group of women racing on the streets of Jeddah. But at the same time, I'm like, it's hard like having them have to go out there to do that. But then I know people who have lived out there and have said that like they've had really positive experience as a woman out there. So I don't know, because I've never been, so I can't really say. So it's a mixture of the two. Like, I kind of go into the Saudi Arabia weekends being like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. But the racing delivered. We've had some really great races this weekend. So kind of moving on to that, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Leah Block and her season so far. We kind of said in the last episode that, you know, Leah didn't have a great start to the first weekend that I think she was hoping for. She had a crash in qualifying in the last round, and she's also had a crash in qualifying this round. And I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit disappointed with her performance. I was expecting, going into this is her second season in F1 Academy. This is her final season in F1 Academy. I thought, okay, she's probably going to have learned a lot from last year. She's had Jamie Chadwick mentoring her. And, you know, like last year was kind of her first full season in single seaters. So I couldn't exactly expect her to change everything in 1 year. But I was hoping for a little bit more. And she's come away again from this weekend with no points. She had a spin / contact in race 1. She didn't score any points in race 2. So guys, what are your thoughts on Leah's performance so far this season?
Yeah, not what I was expecting. Like you were mentioning, this is her second season. And uh, I just don't know what's kind of gone wrong. Her spins and with these races, and just like she even said in the video that I just like that she couldn't really get the grip of the car. I just don't really know like what's happened. And I just don't think that she can like adjust to this car. I'm just a bit baffled by it all, because I, like most, expected more from her, and she did better last season. And I know we're only like the second race in, so it really is early days. You know, maybe she's just having a bad start. Hopefully in the next couple of races she'll turn it around. You never know. It can be so unpredictable, this sport. I mean, we've had like 4 different winners already this season, so You never know. We could see her at the top, but I hope that she doesn't like lose her confidence because she hasn't been doing the best. I hope that she can kind of turn this all around and be like, okay, I'm not gonna let this get to me. Forget about the last races. Let's move on and do better. But yeah, I think everybody, especially fans, are like, like what's different this year to last year for her?
Yeah, I think some of it is down to a little bit of bad luck. Like she in the crashing qualifying last round, it wasn't really her fault. And then this weekend as well, her kind of contact in the first race again was not her fault. The crashing in qualifying this round, she kind of was saying, as you said on team radio, that she couldn't really get to grip with it. She felt like she was a little bit all over the place in comparison to free practice, and a lap later, she then crashed. So I think she's aware that there are problems. I think she probably left this weekend feeling a little bit deflated. She really wanted to capitalize on the success she was having towards the end of last season, but ultimately it kind of just hasn't meant to be yet. Things can still change, but at the moment, it's not looking as great as I think she was hoping it would be. There are a lot of eyes on her specifically, especially after last season, so I think she was hoping that by now she'd have gotten to grips with the car, and kind of be fighting for points, if not like top 5. And she at the moment she's nowhere near that, which is a shame. But moving on to someone who did have pretty strong weekend was Ella Lloyd. She won her first F1 Academy race. It was race 1, which is reverse grid. So she started second, went on and took the lead on lap 1, which was astonishing, and maintained that the entire time. And I was definitely impressed by her performance. I knew going into this that she was a very strong driver, and I was expecting good things from her, but was not expecting a race win in the second weekend of the season so far. Yaz, what were your expectations on Ella, and were you surprised when she took the lead going into lap 1?
I really didn't have many expectations at all. Not to be like, oh, I thought she was a rubbish driver. I just didn't really know too much about her. And that's what I love about the F1 Academy. I kind of always go in a bit blind with our drivers. I always just kind of like, oh, don't know too much about them, but I'm gonna know them by the end of the season. And she was one of those people for me. And her performance was just crazy. Like, I just think this was such an entertaining race, and even though it was only 13 laps, like I keep forgetting that these like races are only 13 laps, but the suspense of her, of is she gonna stay in first place? Is she not? Is Maya gonna come and take the lead? I mean, like there was 1/10 between her, Ella and Maya by the end of the race. Like I was like, it was tense. Um, but these races kind of like feel so much longer because of that like intensity. Um, and she just really impressed me, and I'm sure like so many people will know her name more throughout the season, and more people will be watching out for her and looking out for her, and hopefully teams from many different motorsport series are like, impressive, and keep her in the back of their minds. But incredible stuff, and I can't wait to see where she goes throughout the rest of the season. Daniela, kind of what are your thoughts as well? I'm sure you're on the same boat as me, but like Ella killed it in the first race.
Absolutely, she did. I knew Ella she was in British F4 last year, and she got 4 podiums. I think it was 4. It was either 3 or 4, and one of those was at Silverstone. And I was just so impressed then, seeing her in real life driving past me. It was an incredible performance from her then. And then she went on to do the women's test in Formula E, before obviously jumping into F1 Academy this year. And I knew she was going to be one to look out for, just was not expecting how quick that was going to be. And yeah, as I said, just very impressed. I didn't know she was going to be able to maintain that lead because she had Maya and Dorian like kind of charging up behind her. Alicia was also in the mix there. I think at one point Alicia thought, she could probably take that win. So the fact that Ella maintained all of that was brilliant. Seemed completely unfazed by anything, which I think is what you need in this sport and in this championship particularly, because a lot can happen behind you and you kind of need to be able to not be fazed by what's going on behind you and just kind of keep ahead. And that is what she did. She took the lead from Emma first lap, and that was it. She'd run with it. Emma unfortunately didn't really have a great race after that. She dropped back to 5th, which, after starting on pole, you're going to kind of want to at least secure a podium. That didn't quite happen for her. And then went on to not have a really great race on Sunday. But I wanted to talk to you about Maya and Dorian, because this is one thing that I love about the reverse grids, is that you have to see the top contenders really work for it. They can't just get pole, run away with it, and that be the end of it. Both of them had to make their way up the field. And I don't know about you guys, but I loved the fact that we got to see them really fighting for positions, making their way up the grid. It really proves that not only are they strong drivers in terms of being able to take pole and then win races, but work their way up through the grid, show their capabilities in overtaking. And both of them really made their way up there. Dorian was on the cusp of a podium. Maya did get a podium. What are your thoughts on this reverse grid system, especially seeing like the likes of Dorian and Maya be able to kind of, despite starting further down, be able to kind of capitalise on that opportunity to overtake and then go on to take podiums?
I love it. I love the reverse grid. And it's so entertaining. And like you said, to see those contenders that are like just incredible drivers have to really like cut through that grid to get to the top. It's just, it's so entertaining as a fan. I mean, I don't see how anyone could hate the reverse grid, at least for F1 Academy, because it is just so entertaining. Yeah, I kind of felt Dorian, like she almost had it so many times to like really like get on the podium and get like first position and win a race, but like it was just, she just couldn't secure it. But like even if you watch the highlights, say you didn't get to watch the race, like the majority of the highlights will be Dorian almost getting past on, and then maybe she just couldn't secure it. It was incredible. And same with Maya as well. Them two are the ones to watch out for. I mean, if I was driving and I saw one of them behind me, I would shit myself, because they are just like at the top of their field at the minute. And I'm so excited, because it's not that you just have, I'm kind of rambling on a wee bit now, you get me started. Um, you always, in any motorsport like category, there's always like one person, I feel like one or two people where you're like, oh, they're definitely gonna like win the season, or they're the best. But what I love about F1 Academy is we've seen so many different people win races, and we've seen so many different like drivers that could win and are really good. And it's just so exciting that I feel like with each race we're gonna see new people kind of get up to the top and maybe go, oh, I didn't think that she would get there. And it's just, I can ramble all day. So I'm gonna cut myself here. Yes, it was really good. They're both great.
Yes, I agree with you, and I think that that's what makes this reverse grid so exciting, is we have these moments where you actually don't know who's going to win, and people who may not, like their strengths may not lie in qualifying, end up really showcasing what they can do during the race, and have those opportunities to be at the front. And that was, I feel like, the case this weekend. It also was the case last weekend. Like, we saw Alicia Palmosky take the first win of the season, and I knew that she was going to be great. But again, like, I didn't understand going into it, or didn't kind of know going into it that how much of an impact the reverse grid was going to have. And now it's in place, and I'm loving it so much. With, as we said, 4 different winners in the first 4 races. It's pretty crazy. But speaking of Alicia, again, pretty strong weekend for her. She obviously had another podium, and then she finished 4th on Sunday's race. But I think she kind of left that weekend feeling like she could have had that race win in race 1. I think she felt a little bit deflated because there were moments when, you know, like she was up there. She could have taken that lead. It didn't quite happen for her. She had Dorian behind her, who she managed to keep behind her kind of in those closing stages of the race, which really proved how defensive she can be and how strong she can be keeping someone behind her, especially when it's Dorian Pam, because as you said, Yaz, and I completely agree with you, I would not want Dorian Pam behind me. I would be terrified. So I think that it was a really, really great job from Alicia. She now sits 4th in the championship standings. I if I was her, after this being my debut, I would be happy with that, to be able to sit in 4th with the top 3 who we all knew were going to be pretty strong. You've got Maya, Dorian, and Chloe Chambers. I was not expecting Alicia to be that high just because of her lack of experience in F1 Academy. She obviously was a wildcard entry last year, but this is her first full seat. And yeah, just very impressed by her so far. But moving into race 2, one of my favourite moments for me was the battle between Maya and Chloe Chambers. Just incredible. I love it when we get a good battle, especially for first. Chloe took pole in qualifying, started alongside Maya, and I was like, I know this is going to be good. I just knew before the race had even begun. When the qualifying happened, I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to Sunday because this is going to be good. And it delivered. Not only did we see kind of a similar thing happen in F1, we got it in F1 Academy, where there was this whole battle about going off the track and gaining an advantage. So Yaz, I want to ask you, was the penalty fair for Chloe? For those who don't know, this battle between Chloe and Maya was happening, and then on, I think it was lap 3, turn 22, Chloe kind of went off, so did Maya, but then Chloe came back on ahead of Maya when Maya was originally ahead of her going into that corner. Was it fair? I'm going to ask you probably the same thing in the F1 episode, which you should all listen to. That'll be coming out on Tuesday. So by the time you listen to this, it'll already be out to hear our thoughts on the whole Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen. But to bring it back to F1 Academy, what are your thoughts on the Chloe Chambers versus Maya work?
From the angles I saw, and I'm going to say this on the F1 Academy as well, from the F1 podcast, sorry, from the angles that I saw before fans start coming at me, I do think it was justified. Yeah, it's so unfortunate because it was such a, like, I think both of them had such a great battle and really kind of respected each other a lot of the time, but it was just that one moment where, like, she hopped up the curb as well, and it was just, I think it was just really unfortunate, because the battle between them two throughout the entire race was, I was on the edge of my seat. Yeah, I just think it's unfortunate for Chloe, especially when she finished the race. Like, she was the first across the line, but obviously she wasn't the first. She was P2 because of the 5-second penalty. I'm just kind of happy it wasn't a harsher penalty. It was only a 5-second. Daniela, I'm gonna ask you, what is your opinion? Do you think I'm wrong, or do you think it was justified?
I do think it was justified. Again, of the angles that I saw, one of my favourite angles of it was Dorian's on board. Because she had the best seat in the house. You could see everything from that angle. And in my eyes, like, you know, Chloe did go off. Maya was ahead before. It was clear that Maya was ahead. I don't think you could argue that. And then they both kind of went off, but Chloe came back on ahead of Maya. And I kind of was like, oh, you know, like that moment of like, you need to get that place back. but you're not going to get that place back, are you? And she didn't get the place back. And I was like, no, this can't be happening. And then 5-second penalty came. Little did we know that when we watched that, a few hours later, we were going to have the same thing in F1. But I just was like, oh, Chloe, if you'd literally given the place back, you then could have got her back, and then we wouldn't be in this predicament. But that didn't happen.
I mean,
but
what I
yeah,
thought was quite funny was even though, like, again, probably being in that car, so frustrated, like, oh, that 5 seconds. But I just loved how Chloe was like, we'll get them back in Miami. And I was like, that is the attitude to have. Hell yes, girl. And I cannot wait for Miami to see like where this goes, like this kind of like mini rivalry. I love it.
oh, I didn't know that she said that. That makes it even sweeter. Okay, I can't. I'm actually excited for Miami now. That, as you said, that is the mentality that you need, because that's not the case that's happened in F1. But yeah, I think that it was a really strong battle between the two of them. They're both very, very good. And I think that Chloe has really cemented herself in this championship fight. But like now that she is showing that what she's really capable of. And that just makes it more exciting. That the more drivers we have at the front fighting for that championship, the better this championship's going to be. And it's very different to last year. If we look at last year, it started off kind of being like Dorian versus Abby, and the next thing you know, like, Abby's just run with it, and that was it. Same thing happened in W Series. Jamie Chadwick run with it for 3 seasons. We're now finally getting a battle between these top contenders, and I'm so excited for it. There's not that many points between them. I think there's 12 points separating the top 3, which makes it very exciting when you can still get some points in race 1. I think that Dorian Pan would have left this weekend feeling a little bit deflated. She was so close to kind of getting a podium in race 1. Same kind of thing in race 2. Like, she just wasn't quite like where she needed to be. I think she wanted a race win. Like, she really, really could have capitalized on that moment between Maya and Chloe. She could have gone through, taken the lead. She just said that she just really didn't have the pace. Where the day before, with that battle, gaining on Alicia, she had that pace. Come to day 2, she thinks, okay, I can do this, and just didn't have the pace. She just couldn't get herself there. So if I was her, I'd kind of feel a little bit disappointed. She got obviously a race win in the previous rounds. I think she was hoping that she could emulate that again this weekend, but that just ultimately wasn't meant to be. I think she's going to come back in Miami a lot stronger. I think that she's learned a lot from this weekend. Yaz, what are your thoughts? Do you think that Dorian is probably feeling a little bit deflated and was hoping for more this weekend, especially when there was that moment that she really could have gone ahead, gone past the girls battling it out and taken that win?
Yeah, I think, with any driver, not winning is a disappointment. Especially when you're at like the caliber of Dorian. I mean, she's an incredible driver, and the performance that she put on this weekend, this should not be something that she should be feeling disappointed about. I mean, like, her driving and her skill this weekend was just incredible, so impressive, but she just couldn't secure getting higher up. But I think that it should be something to be like, well, I put on the performance of my life. I mean, every gap she tried to go for, and she just tried, and I don't think that she should be mad at herself for that. Again, this is kind of what F1 Academy is for. It is a training ground, and it is a place to show off your talent, and I think that she definitely has shown her worth. And I'm really just, like, I keep saying it, but I'm just excited. I'm just so excited to see like where these drivers go. And Dorian, I mean, she definitely is going to go far in her career, and I can't wait to see where she goes. And throughout the season, I think we're going to see a lot more from her, and I'm going to predict a couple wins as well. I definitely think she has the ability to get up there, so we shall see. We shall see, guys.
I do agree with you, and I think she's probably one of the most experienced drivers on the grid in multiple different championships as well, not just single seaters. I think she might be kind of beating herself up a little bit this weekend because, you know, as I said, she really could have capitalised on that battle and had kind of taken that win. But I think in the back of her mind, she's thinking, right, this is my second season in F1 Academy, which means it's my final season in F1 Academy. And I really kind of need to go on and prove myself and show that, you know, I'm here to win. And she hasn't, like, realistically got that many opportunities to prove that, because F1 Academy, their rounds are, like, a lot less frequent in comparison to F1. So I think she kind of is like, you know, I'm close, but I'm not close enough yet. Obviously, that could still change. Miami's up next. She'll probably come back and be like, yeah, guys, may have had a little bit of a blip in Jeddah, but look who's back. So I'm excited to see what she does in Miami. I think it's going to be a good weekend. I liked it when W Series was racing in Miami, so hopefully F1 Academy will also deliver. I don't know about you, Yaz, but I think I have run out of things to say. Is there anything that I have missed?
I don't know if you maybe talked about this while I was away, but I just wanted to mention about Nina Gateman and the really big accident that she had in testing.
No, I have not mentioned that, and I had, yes, forgotten about that. So thank you very much for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, I was kind of, I remember, like, again, when I was away, I was just so busy, and I looked on my phone and I was like, oh, by the way, headlining, like, fucking like the captions of these articles were like, F1 Academy driver. I was like, just tell me who it is. Like, I have to click on the article to see who is injured. Like, just put who is injured because I want to know, because I'm concerned. But yeah, Nina had a really big, like, fireball accident. She's fine. By the way, for those who don't know, she was released from hospital after her testing crash. She crashed in Jeddah. I think she's still a bit, like, recovering from her accident. There's honestly not a lot of info online about the crash. Just, you know, clickbaity titles of just like, oh, she's really badly hurt, but we're not going to tell you what's happened, which is great, because if this was a Formula One driver, we would know absolutely every detail. But yeah, she's fine. She's okay. Coming back strong, and we're just excited to see more from Nina.
Yeah, and it was great to have her, like, racing this weekend so that we knew that she was okay. Yeah, before the Jeddah weekend, we did have testing for F1 Academy, as Yaz has kind of just briefly mentioned. So we kind of, like, knew going into this who were going to be strong. At least they'd all had a chance at this track, which made it quite exciting. But yeah, we hope that Nina is doing okay now, and that she will come back fighting in Miami. But thank you very much for listening. I was your host, Daniela, and I was joined by Yasmin, and we will see you in the fast lane.
Hello, fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you, glad you came too. Like you